Hello and welcome to round 3, part 4, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
For LieMDB. I have picked Wolf Children, the Mamoru Hosoda film, who also did The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Mirai of the Future, Summer Wars. Ethan, you've seen one of those, right?
I've seen the last half of Summer Wars. That's not true. I've seen the last half an hour of Summer Wars.
To be fair, it's a really good last half an hour.
It is, yeah. And with The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, I was in the room while it was playing, but I wasn't paying attention. I think I was doing my own thing. My sister and mum were the ones watching that.
Fair enough. Well, I know that, Mirai of the Future is the first non-Ghibli film to get nominated for an Academy Award. Fun fact. I don't know many fun facts about Wolf Children. Just a good film that one.
I think there are many non-Ghibli films that have been nominated for Academy Awards.
No, for like the
animated
feature.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, sorry.
But it's the fact that you said it was the first non-Ghibli film not to be nominated for an Academy Award.
It's like, yeah, I'd been only giving it to the Ghibli film.
Yeah. Oh, best actor. We'll go to that Ghibli film, yeah.
God, that'd be funny. But yeah,
imagine if it had that much of just a hold over awards, just everything.
That's basically Disney, though, isn't it? Like, best animated film has always been a Pixar or a Disney.
They get snubbed anime, in my opinion.
Yeah,
although the most recent one was Tale of Princess Kaguya, the most recent Ghibli one, done by the guy who does Grave of the Fireflies, and I don't know, that got nominated but it didn't win, and I don't know if it was the best thing. I've seen it and it was like, it's alright, it's pretty good.
I'm trying to remember that guy's name on Grave of the Fireflies, the one that's not Hayao.
I forgot.
Takahata? Is that his name?
Anyway, so Wolf Children, it's a film about a single mother trying to raise 2 children on her own in the city. Eventually she moves to the countryside, but the twist is, in the name, is that they are in fact wolves. Wolves. I was like, fuck, messed up. Yeah, that's the gimmick of this film. It's basically just I would call it a Boyhood-esque, even though I haven't seen Boyhood. Just sort of a coming-of-age story of the 2 children, Ame and Yuki, who are named after snow and rain.
Oh, is that true?
I mean, that's literally... What? Did you watch the subtitle or the English version?
Oh, it's the English version.
Well, that entire point of those characters is lost. Well, I say entire point, that's a stretch, but it's like raining and snowing at like critical points for those characters. It's kind of like a big deal.
Sorry. Well, the version
that's why I didn't want you to watch it.
Ame and Yuki, I didn't watch it with subtitles.
What did they say then when they were like naming them? I'm gonna name you this random Japanese word for no reason.
Well, what did they say? I mean, were you called Tony because that was part of your destiny? Or
well, yeah, but if you name someone Rain and like you don't bring it up ever, but like, oh yeah, you're named after Rain, by the way. You know, that's kind of a thing, right?
But I feel like you're having a go at me now. I didn't
All right,
do
fine.
the film.
You didn't know.
All I did was I watched a film where 2 characters were called Ame and Yuki, and they seemed as good as names as any.
Okay,
so
fair
I
enough.
feel like I've known a lot of Yukis in.
Well, I don't know. It means other things, but I'm pretty sure that's like why they name them. You know.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry. I just got a bit worried. Like, oh fuck, they watched the Italian version. What else have you missed? From the English. It's like I'm the only one who's watching
she's not growing spaghetti and meatballs when she's farming.
What do you mean the children are wolves?
There's another... Fuck, I don't want to get into just translation issues.
My favourite bit is when the consigliere fixes all their problems.
Oh man, it's genuinely made me mad.
Could you imagine when he's drowning, it's just like, you sleeping with the fishes? Sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, it's a pretty just I don't know, heartwarming story in my opinion that just follows the journey of tell from the perspective of Yuki, the daughter wolf, who's like, hey, you know, here's how my mum met my father, here's how I was born in the city, here's how I moved to the countryside, and all the, you know, wacky hijinks they got up to, and you know, it's just a lovable, kind of slow pace, but I thought it would be like really long, but it's under 2 hours, which isn't bad. It's allowed to be good, you know. That's the metric. Apart from Infinity War, which for some reason is the exception. I just really like this film. I rewatched it, yesterday because I had seen it way ago just to nail it in for either 2012 or for LieMDB, and ultimately it's here, round 3. I'm really glad I did. It's definitely a very rewatchable film. Probably going to rewatch it every year from now on, just because it's that good. It was probably more sad the second time. How sad did you guys think it was? You guys think it was sad, Jono? You're heartless storybot as usual.
I didn't think it was sad.
No, okay.
There were some moments that
that
made me
was
quite
definitely
upset.
towards the end, like I didn't find the beginning sad because I'll get into that, but the end was definitely.
Well, I found the beginning quite sad. But, I mean, you know what it reminded me a lot of? It reminded me a lot of Up.
Yeah, I was going
that
to
beginning
say,
section.
first 20 minutes of All Children, first 10 minutes
Yeah,
of Up.
obviously. Well, I mean, there's a difference in which film does it better, sure.
Yeah.
But the moment where
do love the
she's by the railing and you can't see what's under, what's down below.
That was
her
definitely surprising.
Yeah, and the bit where the rain is just really loud.
And it cuts out.
Yeah.
Yes, it does the exact same. I know we're gonna laugh about this, right? But it has the exact same impact that Ricky's death does. But you know what I mean, where it's thunderous and there's so much going on, and then it takes away all the sound, and you're just left in that moment for a brief couple of seconds, and then because you see the umbrella fall, and it happens. It happens quite slowly when you go back and look at it, but in the moment it feels like it's like really fast when you see that moment, and that's really what I like about it. And it does, it hit me for sure.
Yeah,
so I like
definitely.
this character. We'd only been with him for about 10-15 minutes, but I did like him. He reminded me a lot of my cousin, actually, one of my French cousins.
I think they do a very good job of introducing them quickly and making them very likable. You learn a lot about them pretty well, I think. What do you guys think? What do you guys say?
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the opening. I felt like he was a bit one note. He seemed like he was riding on that Twilight craze of like mysterious wolf man. I think this is definitely the dub's fault, but his transformation and then the way he talked was quite goofy. Like
Everyone
I definitely
has seen a shitter version of the thing.
I mean, you didn't tell us which version to watch.
I said not watch the Italian version, to be fair. I didn't know it was this bad.
Didn't provide a link or something, but
These are only what these two think. I didn't think it was goofy.
I wasn't too emotional, but I enjoyed the film a lot more when it was just her, because wasn't a big fan of the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. I think the fact that he's still there as a presence for like the rest of the film, just through the fact that you'll see his driver's license on that bookshelf, which talks about building a bookshelf.
Stood out to me was when like Yuki just when like walking past, just like as though talking to her dad, sort of says something to that driver's license before leaving. It's like, oh, that's cute. Oh, the bookshelves. Or he's just like, that's how I'll have made it in life. I could just build a bookshelf.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't have big lofty aspirations. He just wants to own a house or whatever it is.
I was amused. It's just like, own a house, then I can have a bookshelf. I can put books on it, and then when the bookshelf's full, build another.
That's that's perfectly reasonable, right?
I'm trying not to criticize some of the dialogue because I pretty much can't, because I don't know if the sub's better than the dub or whatever.
Yeah, the lines around the bookshelf was when I was like, okay, this could be the dub being a bit weird.
Do you really think the dialogue was that iffy at points?
It's at the start.
Just didn't notice it.
At the start, yeah. It's better when it's like children, because you can have clunky dialogue with children, but.
God, I kind of feel like rewatching the first 20 minutes to see if I was just being an idiot, because I honestly don't remember anything that jarring about it to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I thought it was really, good. He doesn't come off as like being, a fucking Edward. I was about to call him Edward Snowden. What's his name?
He really does. He's like the mysterious guy in class.
I know.
Don't talk to me.
Well,
yeah.
I know, but like he comes across as like perfectly, reasonable in my opinion. He's like, sorry, I know I don't actually go to this, university. He's just stealing knowledge. And so he says like, oh, if that bothers you, I won't come anymore, and he just leaves. Seems like a really nice guy in the version I watched. In
the English version, he's an utter bastard.
Yeah,
just got that whole line about Hitler did nothing.
When he meets her, he says, "I could have raped you."
He just really likes Mussolini.
Wow.
But no, yeah, I don't know. The opening made me feel like I wouldn't like this film.
Yeah, and then I did. So
yeah,
I think we have a very similar situation.
Kudos to the rest of the film, but
So
See, the thing is, right, in the first 20 minutes when it's just the backstory, I feel like, well, with a combination of the narration coming from one of the children, I felt like there was always the sense that this stage wasn't going to last very long and it would move on to something new. Mm-hmm. So I never felt like I'd be staying in this part of the story for particularly long anyway.
I mean, it's called Wolf Children. I assumed there were going to be some wolf children.
Especially when it's being,
yeah.
The
there you go.
narration
and the narration, and with a lot of the things that she says, especially in the beginning, it kind of sounds quite... There's despair, I think, in her words. So I think you can just tell that this is quite a... It's a prelogue kind of section. I don't think it's going to last long. And it does change, and that wasn't something that came out of the blue for me. I kind of saw it coming. Mm-hmm. So
then there's still some quite neat moments in the city though.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You get to see the children obviously being like really young, when they're like infants.
Yeah. But when I talk about the prelogue section, I mean it's not just all the city. I mean just the part where the wolf father is still alive. After that, it becomes like.
I really enjoyed the kind of the children, because it reminded me of Ethan's favorite film Tully, where it's almost like a horror. Like children are the scariest thing in the world. Like a crying child is just like, and you can't do anything. Yeah. And obviously, it's literally about wolf children, but you could kind of read it as a metaphor of like trying to live with children, as a single mother, the chaos of it. And that's the element I really appreciated when it kind of hit to moments that were like really true, like she just doesn't know what to do. She's kind of left without a father. You can read that as it's a wolf that died in a gutter. You can read it as like an absentee father, But yeah, I really enjoyed that kind of element of it.
We never find out what happened to him either, do we?
Yeah, sort of.
You just went to the store to get some cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the subtitle, I'm gonna keep bringing this up now. For fuck's sake. There's a line that's like, "Hey, maybe his hunting instincts kicked in." And
I mean, it says that.
Okay, that's good.
I think
that's
they're very similar.
Fair enough. Apart from that one line. After she's just left to raise them on her own. You get how much of a super mum she is through how she just raises them on her own, despite the fact that it's incredibly hard to raise wolf children.
For like I say for the first half, for the entire film, I was sat there thinking, I don't think I've ever seen a film where I feel like the mother or a mother in that film is a better mother than my own. And this film has a mother that's better than my own. She is fucking insane. She has to go through, she has to deal with, the patience she has to have, and the short temper she doesn't need to have is just it's just astounding. She really is a great mother. That's one of the reasons I like her, because she just cares for her children and wants to honour the memory of their father. It's really, really quite easy to invest.
I mean, Persona.
I should have known that was coming. Say that for another podcast, Harry.
Just want to talk about it.
Yeah, I want to talk about it. Look, we're doing Wolf Children right now. What else was I going to like? I also really like. I feel like there's a really cool point halfway through the story where this interesting juxtaposition happens, where everything before it, you have the two children. You have one of them who's a lot more kind of animalistic, and she gets quite angry quite easily, and she very is wolf like the other one is a lot more calmer and relaxed. And then halfway through they kind of swap roles, and one of them, the one who was originally a lot more wolf like, wants to follow a more human path, and the other one who was a lot more calm and kind of sensible, follows a life which is a lot more wolf-like. And I feel like they explore that plot line quite well, actually, because that was always going to be something. There was always going to be one child who wanted to follow one half of their of who they are, and the other one wanting to follow the other half, and what would come as fruition from that as well.
Yeah.
It does a good job.
Because it is sort of a theme in the early bit. I sort of realised when I noticed their kind of branching pathway in that sort of way, how it is sort of what they're saying early on is like, yeah, well, we've got to make sure that they have both options, basically. And then it sort of it works well how it because you have just in terms of what's going on, basically there's always some sort of conflict in a way, or at least there's, because in the city there's the fact that there's the like nosy neighbours and like the child services and all of that.
I know. She doesn't vaccinate her wolf children, guys.
She's an anti-vax propaganda.
And then once she goes,
the one bad thing she does.
Once she goes into the country, there's sort of a distrust between her and the new neighbours, and the sort of struggle to get farming. But once that settles, then you get into the sort of struggles of school and the two children choosing their different paths. Basically, it does a good job of there always being something. So I sort of noticed around that point. So I wonder with Arme, because he's seen whether his sort of route is a bit more analogous to sort of autism, sort of the way that he's...
I actually did think it was autism at one point.
Yeah, because the way he's a lot more comfortable around animals and less around humans, that's something that someone on the autistic spectrum might have.
Oh,
I mean,
so
I
you
don't
can
know
see it as a
enough
metaphor
about
for that.
that,
But I think it is more very interesting how Ame's storyline is just about the fact that he has to leave his mother behind, essentially. Well, again, this is getting towards the end, but the fact that she has the line where it's like 10 years, 10 years, you're only 10 years old, even though that's fully grown up for a wolf. And she has a moment where she pauses and realizes oh no, this is an adult,
Yeah. I also quite like how I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I think that towards the end, sorry, I don't know what the fuck happened there. As they both start to diverge and follow their own paths, there's still a good moment where they learn to kind of embrace the side of the path that they're not following. Yeah. Because you have is she called Yuki?
Which one? The girl,
the girl. Yuki. Yeah, but I can't remember if it was Yuki or Yuri or something like that.
Yuri!
Yeah.
It's a Russian name.
Yeah. Well, Yuri is a name of all cultures, I think, as we've learned watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yuri
Yeah, exactly. Because Yuki has that moment where she wants to follow the human path, but she has to learn to kind of embrace the wolf side of her by showing that off to the boy. I can't remember his name, even though I watched it this morning. She has to learn trust, and then you have Arme, who follows the side of a wolf, but he has to learn to be a bit more human and caring by saving his mum and bringing her back to civilization where where she's not injured. And I like that as well.
Yeah, it's very good. I really like
it's kind of like that they're going on their own path, but they're not fully leaving the other side of them. That's still kind of there.
The final shot is, or I say final moment, is sort of just the mum that is just listening to the wolf call off in the distance, and it ends.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
I think I prefer the second half as well, actually, because I think I like the children a lot more when they weren't. Well, the boy was always all right, but the girl was such a brat and she really annoyed me. And then when she grew up a little bit and actually got more sensible, I was like, okay, this is all right now. Because in the beginning, I didn't. Well, of course she's just a kid, but I just found her annoying because her mum had to put up with so much. Because she was just, she would throw tantrums every 5 seconds when she wanted food or she wanted to go on a walk, and it was kind of just irritating for me.
My mother has.
Yeah, I know.
I find it quite cute with the way that she was changing between wolf and human at those moments, which made it harder for me to just, because she was being irritating and all that, but she was doing it in a cute way.
I know.
I think it's always understandable.
Yeah.
I think my favourite segment of the film is where she just learns to farm. I'm like, this is a secret farming film. I love this. This is great. I like the old man Clint Eastwood, you know, have a go at her, you know, having those orgies. Yeah.
The transitions that from them going from wolf to human are always, or human to wolf, are always really well done. Like the way they sort of just shake their head or their hair, and it's like in the motion of them shaking, it's like their like wolf sort of features appear. It's really good. Or just do it off camera, like the bit where she where the neighbors are there and they're like, "Oh, do you have a dog?" And they just Yuki just goes off screen and the dog appears. It's like, is that a wolf?
I feel like it definitely worked when it was cute and they were children, but when it was going for the "I'm a stoic man," and I'm a wolf, that's when it looked funny. Like when the boy had grown up and when there was the guy at the start. I think that's the wolf look that I didn't like as much. But the wolf children, so to speak, were very well done.
I'll tell you what else I quite like about the prologue, which we're now calling it. I feel like there are quite a lot of moments, especially in the later half of it, where they kind of stop using words and dialogue, and they kind of tell the story through visuals, which I quite like. And I feel like there are quite a few moments of that in the film as well, where they just kind of suspend all verbal confirmation. It's literally just, here's some images, and you can literally just figure out what's happening through those images. There's also a really cool moment that I like quite a lot later on, where you start to realise that Ame doesn't like being in school, and you get the same shot of the classroom, but it kind of keeps spinning around.
Do you mean the tracking shot, Ethan?
It is. I guess it is a tracking shot.
No, do you mean like the left to right one as they grow up?
No, it doesn't keep going left to right.
Oh no, you're talking about
it does sometimes go left to right, but it kind of keeps spinning around, and you get the same classrooms, but you feel like you're about to go to another classroom, but it just keeps revolving around, and you see the boy getting picked on by the bullies.
I like the idea,
and then it spins around again.
The aesthetic of that shot just didn't appeal to me.
I mean,
the way it was framed was just, it didn't look nice, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than Tully though. This film, definitely. Tully had like no substance.
They're about the same level for me.
Really? I mean, I feel like I don't want to start talking about Tully, but I feel like Charlize Theron was like good in that, and so was Mackenzie Davis. But the story was so kind of.
I mean, they take different angles looking at motherhood. This one's definitely more wholesome than Tully. And Tully's definitely more about self-care than your children's care.
Yeah, but Tully kind of leaves you with nothing when you finish with it. I don't feel like... you could take stuff from it, but I just wasn't satisfied. And I was just like, okay, well, that was kind of a film, wasn't it? But with Wolf Children, I was like, yeah...
That was a film, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that was a film. That was a film.
Yeah. I know we're talking about the sub and the dub, but I really did like the children. Their voice actors, like I'm going to be a little girl all the way home. I really enjoyed that. I feel like whilst I enjoy the original version, sometimes it's hard to understand tone of voice, and kind of I feel like especially with the children, they do a really good job of conveying like fear, curiosity. It's really good. Apart from that prologue, which isn't that great. Yeah, it does get better.
Yeah. I think I've said this before, and I feel like I'm kind of just shitting anime with this in general when I say something like this.
If you say it's too weird, Ethan.
No, something like that. I just feel like
exactly.
In most cases, I prefer watching the English dub version, because I feel like if you watch it in the original language, I feel like a lot of the time, especially the younger female characters, the way their voices are so irritating and high pitched and just squealy, and it kind of just irritates me. And I felt like I'd have the same problem with this, but watching it in the English version, it was a lot more passable.
Fair enough. Allow it.
Yeah, like Asterisk Score, for example. Every bloody female character in that was so irritating. But then the male character was also kind of annoying, so I guess it's like...
I found the framing device interesting.
That's really not as good as this.
Of course. The idea that it's the grown-up daughter telling the story at the moment. Yeah. That was kind of an interesting way to go about it. I kind of...
It's quite cool.
Yeah, I expected it to pay off in a bigger way. I don't know why.
So were you not a fan of the sequence when she's kind of like in her little world and she sees her husband again?
Oh yeah, I did like that.
I like that.
That's kind of the only time I like that. Because I wasn't that. I think I don't know. Maybe I guess you have to see it. I just wasn't the biggest fan.
Well, I think it's just interesting because
she's better on her own.
It tells you like, hey, this is the 12-year story of how I was raised by my mother, And it's at the beginning, it's like, hey, you know, it might sound like a fairy tale, you know, but it was real, and it calls it back to that at the end. So, you know, if
where it says based on a true story.
It's not
And
even
then like the director comes on and just turns into a wolf. Like, yeah, it's my confessions.
he was MA.
What did we ever joke about? Was it was Old Boy. We said should have been based on a true story.
Yeah, I just think it's really neat how it just feels, well, about the prologue, like how it sets up a lot of things that happen later on. Even if you don't like it, there's things like, oh, you know, I think in the wallet there's a photo of like a mountainside, and that's where they go later on, you know, building the bookshelf and all that stuff later on. I think it's really neat.
Yeah.
I just really like, you know, how it's just about like the fact that it's this journey that, you know, motherhood has to take you on, of just like having to be there 100% for the children at the beginning, to then, you know, at the end where she has to sort of let go and realize like, hey, you know, I won't, like, she has that realization where she's like, no, I like, she almost has like realized like she's done everything she can, even though she says like, oh, you know, I still haven't done anything for you.
No, I completely agree. So, I mean, what do you think of the boy, the one who likes Yuki?
Sohei.
Yes, Sohei.
I think, you know, at the beginning he is played as like a bit of an arsehole kind of thing.
Well, he's played a bit of a Benjamin Braddock, don't you think? I mean, he's a bit obsessive and creepy.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose it's easier to forgive him that because he is like a child, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he probably did take it personally that like Yuki was like avoiding him at all times, even though from his perspective he didn't do anything wrong. And I think it does work towards the end, you know, where they make up when you get the whole like, hey, I knew the whole time you were a wolf, you know, I kept your secret safe. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I think this film's really emotionally, like, you know, I think it's really sad. Like, I don't think it in like a oh, I was miserable watching this, but just the fact that it's like about, you know, having to, you know, watch your children grow up, you know, because you really empathize with like the mother in this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's happened a lot more in recent years. Like I think I used to just watch films and I'd be like, yeah, kids, yeah. But now I just like, actually that's kind of weird out of context. Oh, that's going to be used in court one day, I'm sure. But in recent years, I think I first started to realise this when I watched 8th grade, where I take the side of the parents a lot more than I used to, and how I see things from their perspective.
You're getting old,
Ethan. As well. Yeah,
getting
old. I really did like it. I think if I'd watched Wolf Children at the same time that I saw Ponyo, would have been like, mothers and fathers, they're annoying, back off. But now I'm just like, no, they need to stick around because they're the ones who know what's best.
There's that great line where I can't remember exactly, but essentially she says she's got a lot of problems, and then it's like, even though you're a grown up, I think is the line.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It's kind of a good thesis statement of the film.
Yeah, there's quite a few neat parallels it draws. Like, even right at the end, like, she sees that bear and gets like really scared, but she realizes like, the bear's just a mother, you know, it has two cubs of her own. That's really sweet.
I feel like the Clint Eastwood character should have been a bit more. I kind of liked him at the beginning because I felt like he would play more of an important part in the story to go, and then he kind of just became.
Disappears, doesn't he?
He does. He never comes back, and he's also kind of like. Well, he starts off as a Groucho, but he says he's a Groucho member. Then you realise that actually he's got good interest at heart, and I kind of didn't like that. Like I wanted him to burn the house down.
What?
I wanted him to be more
This
of
is
a...
Ethan's version of Eat the Guy. Like, why didn't you burn the house down?
No, all these.
It's not as if there was a smaller house fire earlier on in the film where you see the guy say, "I'm gonna burn your house down."
Oh no. What you don't realise, it's pointed out in the English in his hand, but his name is actually Fire.
Oh my god, that would be really bad.
If his name seemed to be translated to like arson or something like that would be incredible.
No, I like.
No, but this film, maybe it's just me, but I feel like all of these.
I feel like that would have been a bit too dark.
They don't suffer from having like a. I think clear is the wrong word, but I feel like there should be more villains. There should be more of an imposing threat on the story.
I feel like it's more realistic this way, though. It is just the journey of growing up, like the hardships of getting older.
Yeah, and everyone knows that in growing up, you have to put your house getting burnt down at some point. That's part of growing up.
Fair enough. No, I suppose. I don't know. It is a bit weird that they leave him on the note of just like he doesn't really understand why the mother, I forgot the name. I'm pretty the father never gets given a name, but I'm pretty sure the mother does. I'll just call her Lo-Fi Beats to relax. I study too well. Hannah, of course.
It means flower.
Hannah, as they say in American.
See, Jono, you do remember.
Saoirse Ronan.
They do, but they explain that, but they don't explain the children.
I don't remember them explaining the children.
Do you think you watched the Amazon Prime show, Hannah? That's what everyone talks about.
I do remember that now. Yeah, I do remember.
The film's like
The flowers were in bloom.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
Oh, it's alright.
Anyway,
I think Kate Blanchett's in it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they did. Maybe they just. Fuck, I don't know. I'm pretty sure their names do mean Snow and Ray. Unless I've just imagined that. Maybe the subtitle is really bad. Maybe I watched the bad version of it.
Possibly the subtitle just has the like Yuki, and then in brackets just has like the English translation of it.
Anyway,
or it's
just say where is Greasy Cock off.
Yeah, it wasn't even in the subtitle.
I hope
the children greasy cockles.
But yeah, I really like the message she was given from her father in the prologue, which is smile all the time even when it's forced, and how you can that's how you make it through hard scenarios. And you see her, laughing at the end with the old man.
You used to see Inside Out, I understand that you gotta have more than one emotion, Understand joy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like this is sort of like forcing people. Well, I say forcing is a strong word, but like reminding people of the positive even in dark times. Because they go through some hardships. They have to overcome. I really like the scene, just to take a tangent, where they build the house. They have to clean the house. I really like that. They just sort of have to.
Just gotta press A a load of times.
They just gotta find carpenter, and then it just fixes the house.
Alright, here's one that
before they do that, they say everyone reload.
One scene I didn't like was when she's chasing after her son, and she just keeps falling over, and you see the same shot of her foot. And the same cracking sound. It reminded me of Logan, where he falls asleep 7 times at the end of that film. It's just a slog. It's just like someone in pain, slowly getting somewhere. It's just I don't find that fun to watch.
I think
that's just like a minor thing. That's not a serious point.
I paused to have lunch in the middle of that scene.
It goes on for a minute too long.
As opposed to
quite
me,
arduous,
I went back and
though.
rewatched that part about 7 or 8 times.
Favourite bits are how they get shot. Only in the Italian version though. Like Clemenza does it.
Oh man.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't know. That was I do see that it is quite long, but then I sort of feel like it mirrors how far she's willing to go for the children.
With the music in the background, if I would walk 500 miles.
I really like the scene where they're running in the snow though, all of them, and then just you get the wolf surfing. It's like fucking White Acropolis, they're dodging that big bowling ball of snow, and then it's the bit where Ame falls into the water, but you sort of realise that oh no, even though it was like a dangerous moment, that gave him a change of perspective,
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I genuinely thought they were gonna kill the kid.
Yeah.
I was like, this film has just killed people before.
It
wouldn't surprise me if they just killed the kid.
We're only hearing this from the perspective.
There was a weird moment where I was like, wait, what turn is this film about to take? Where she says, "Mum, I'm sorry," or something, and then he walks off, and during that moment Tony just seems to get a lot more kind of what's about to happen. Because before that he says, Yuki, stay at home with Mum today, or something like that. And afterwards he says, "Mum, I'm sorry." And then you're just like, well, what's about to happen? I thought he had some I thought he was able to tell No, hang on. What was I about to say? I thought he was able to like time travel or something.
What the fuck?
I thought he could secretly look into the future.
Playing too much Life is Strange.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's a storm coming.
Yeah.
was my interpretation.
I don't know. I think it's more that he realizes that he like has to leave at that point. Like he's not really gonna stay in the human world for that much longer. Which, you know, fair enough.
Yeah.
He has to do what. How do you guys think about Sensei, about the Fox, about Fantastic Mr. Fox,
The
but
creepy older man in the woods.
Yeah.
That is a legitimate concern. I mean, not because it's a children's film, but when they said, "Oh, there's some old person that he's playing around with in the woods, far away from home," and I'm like,
remarkably calm about
okay.
the whole thing.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, that's nice."
Yeah.
That's nice.
I mean, like it was obviously
They're
gonna.
feeding the squirrels with almonds.
It was obviously going to be some animal.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like never worried until it's.
I know, but it is.
But when they were
She
there-
like doesn't know though,
Yeah,
which is funny.
when she was
To be
kicking
fair,
off
she
the
does
human-
say like, "Oh, I thought you were talking about the Colonel," you know, the Clint Eastwood or whatever. Yeah, but I really like the how there's almost like a through line of like he goes and sees the wolf again, like the one they have in captivity. And there's like you don't see if they say anything, but from that moment onwards he knows to go and see Sensei in the forest, and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn,
I
those
kind of-
animals, they spoke to each other.
You know what
In
I
my
quite
opinion.
like as well? I think I had the same. Well, I had a similar thing with Your Name, where it was like you had like a really good contrast between the city life and the rural life. And I felt like this film does the same thing, where in the city she was kind of doing everything by herself and she had to kind of figure out everything on her own. And then she gets to the rural area. There's a lot more of a sense of community. Everyone kind of chips in and helps her out.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Yeah,
Oh, can we mention the shot, which Jono brought up as a good thing? But it's like it's literally a Simpsons joke just in the middle of this pretty serious film where she doesn't know which
Yeah.
But like it's quite jarring in that they've not had a traditional like visual gag as like I enjoyed it because it made me laugh, but like
I don't know. I think
it was a Simpsons. It was like a classic
Like,
Simpsons joke, which I didn't enjoy.
Or...
Yeah,
What
just
the
the
Yeah,
Cat
I don't know.
Cat
It's
song.
it's really funny, but I don't know. It does. I guess you could say it comes up a bit out of nowhere, but it's sort of like, oh no, it's sort of like the transition from like, hey, she was really worried about the children,
Yeah.
but then it's sort of showing that like, oh no, everything is fine, you know.
It was pretty.
That's what I was like. I quite like this. Just like this is a good joke, and it kind of it implies that they've thought this through a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they really have, you know. She's like really studying up like how the fuck do wolves grow
Yeah,
up, you know.
when she's got a book about children growing up, and then just sort of puts it down and picks up one up about wolves.
It's like if I read both of them at the same time.
I think
Yeah.
the midpoint of the film where she's raising the children, well, not the midpoint, but you know what I mean, like end of first act, start second act, where she decides to go away and then starts farming stuff. That's definitely my favourite stuff. You know, that kind of half an hour stretch of just her making it on her own, you know, when the children are young. I did like it when they were growing up, but I feel like when the film was just focused on her, that was my favourite stuff.
Oh, I failed to mention. There's another really good moment that I actually quite like, where what's his name again? The boy who likes Yuki. Sohei. He's chasing her about, and then she's backed into a corner, and then there's this really cool thing that the sound does, where it kind of gets.
Sorry.
Where it comes to like to me an almost ear-piercing kind of shriek, and then in one swift movement she kind of just reaches out and you almost don't see it. And I thought that was pretty good as well. Yeah. In fact, with the music, I feel like at times it was a bit too overbearing and in your face, and slightly over dramatic. But generally, it's quite good. The score's good.
It's not like Beastly. I mean,
Beast.
That's only with the Wii game, isn't it?
I really like the end credit song.
oh yeah, that was nice.
That was.
Well, it was quite jarring when you from watching it in English, and then there's just this Japanese song, and you're like, oh yeah, this is anime.
Can you imagine if it had been in Italian though? Like that's why there's an
It's the
Italian
credit
dub.
song from Morrissey. Mamma mia, pizza pie.
No, but it would be quite funny if the final song was like, oh damn, no, I had it in my head. Oh, shit. It'll come back to
That's
that.
amore.
Yeah.
No, be quite funny if it ended with the theme from Ponyo, actually, just out of the blue.
Oh, little fishy in the sea.
Tiny little fishy.
This
Something,
is miles better
something,
than
something.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of cover similar-ish ground of like a wholesome, like raising a family thing. But this
Yeah,
time
but Ponyo's completely uninteresting.
This feels a bit.
Film is something you can latch onto.
Yeah,
This feels.
this
This does feel like like the entire family could sit down and watch it and get something out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, is there anything we've gone for 35 minutes, 40 minutes even? Do we want to put numbers on it?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you want to start off, Tony?
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I really, really like this film. I think I don't normally like films that are just this. I normally like the fucking Ponyos of the world where everything's just happy-go-lucky and you can forget about real life.
When we were driving here, I said a similar thing where I said at the end of the film I was like, I feel like if this film had been live action, you wouldn't have liked it. I feel like because it's anime, that's definitely a big hooking point.
I mean, to be fair, it makes a lot of the fantastical elements more believable, in my opinion.
Yeah, Johnny said the same
That's
thing.
what I said. Like the
Am I that
animation
predictable?
style really goes in well with the transformation between human and wolves.
She'd been
the
like
children do.
if they had been like a disgusting CGI monster, I'd be like, no. I would burn the house down. I wouldn't. But yeah, I think this film obviously is really emotional in my opinion. It's definitely pulled on the heartstrings in a lot of ways. I just love the journey the kids go on. And there's so many small moments that just add such a amazing texture to this world. That is
the texture of wolf children is something I must discover.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure that on Discover you go all serious as well, Jonathan.
I must discover.
Have like 1,000 yards still. But yeah, God, this is just I don't know how many more ways I can phrase it other than that it's really well made. I love the animation, the soundtrack. I think normally I'm like, oh, grey, what a boring colour. But in the last act where it's just so grey and it's like the rain's coming down and then it pulls down to the sun like shining through and it's like, oh man, it's like everything's been, born anew. I think that's really nice. It's a very pretty film.
When did you first watch it? Did you say how long ago?
Maybe like a couple months ago, I don't know. Like when LieMDB was starting up.
Oh, no. Yeah, when did we start LieMDB? That was more than just a couple of months ago, I think.
Yeah, it was a while back.
We started it at Johnny's place, watching
Would
In
have
the
been
Loop.
about
In the Loop? Yeah, that's what the film's called, In the Loop, right?
That would have been
Mm.
ages ago. About a year.
But yeah. Fuck me. Well, anyway, I just really like this film. I'm definitely gonna rewatch it many more times to come, which I look forward to. So I'm gonna just give this film a solid 10 out of 10. What do you guys think?
Nice.
Who wants to go next?
Who wants to follow?
Probably you, Ethan.
Why?
Because I think you like it the most.
Yeah, but I feel like we should get you two out of the way and then I'll leave on a positive note.
I mean,
We'll have the Jono as the... Even though he probably likes this one.
So I think with anime, it's Harry is the...
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind anime. I don't like it more than any other animation. I like a film's a film. I'll judge it against every other film I've seen, and I didn't like it. I enjoyed it.
That's good.
I don't know if it was as impactful for me. Obviously, I'd say I wasn't the biggest fan at the start, and some of the emotional moments didn't hit as hard for me. I don't know by that is really. I don't really want to theorize too much, but yeah, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very good film, and I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's not as good as Akira.
Damn.
That's the one anime that I Grave of the Fireflies. And
out of
Kiki's
curiosity-
Delivery 7.
Yeah.
So they're the 3 that I'd give an 8 or above.
And what about Grave? What would you give that?
8. Very high 8.
Yeah, not a 9 though.
Very high 8.
Alright.
Hey, Jono, do you wanna go third?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it the same as Harry and give it a 7.
Hey. Ethan.
Yeah, no. I mean, I feel like Jonathan just giving a score feels like I should just say the score and just not talk about why I liked it at all. But
That's because I sort of already said most of my points. I mean, it's similar-ish to Harry, but with less of the kind of yeah, I guess I do just kind of judge anime as anime things, but I don't know how I'd compare this to what's it called?
Better than-
Akira.
Better than Ponyo, that's for sure. Well,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you guys liked it. I mean, knowing that none of you are like single mothers, I wouldn't really like expect you to super resonate with it. But I'm glad you liked it.
it's very much like a warm. I could see watching this film like on like a midday on a Sunday, with my mum. It's very much that kind of a film, which there's a place for, but I don't know if it's anything above that for me.
Ethan, you'd watch it with your mum and be like, she's fucking better than me. You didn't fucking study wolf biology to raise me.
Jordan Peterson, that'd be Lobster Children.
Lobster Children, that'd be quite a film. Yeah, I don't know. It's between a 7 and an 8, and I don't. I
you
think,
won't give it an 8.
No, you like it more than the 7. So
I like it more than what?
me and Johnny, we give it 7.
Yeah, but
Give it an 8. Be nice.
yeah, but I liked it about as much as Your Name, and Your Name was a really high 7. I don't like it more than SAO Abridged.
Give it a very low 8.
Would you like it as much as a Serial Bridge?
No, I don't like it as much as SAO Abridged.
Fair enough.
So I think
enough?
it will be a 7.
Oh, fair enough. We've got another FTL.
Yeah, I think if you'd given it a 9, I'd have probably given it an 8.
Well, that's the same net score, and I want to give this a 10. So
Fair play.
So yeah,
Fair play.
I have no idea what I'm doing for my round 4.
Just pick American Psycho.
Good.
I mean, you could pick something that isn't Japanese and a cartoon.
Oh,
Be different for a change.
10 out of 7.
Tony, you should
7.
just go on like Letterboxd and just look at the highest rated films on there, because they'll probably be not in the top 250, and pick something completely out of the blue.
Or I could pick a film.
Pick
that
like
I
a
know.
Kurosawa film.
Okay,
Just
pick like a
random-
5-hour long one.
Yeah, just pick a random film that like.
Why?
Ethan will give it a 10. Like,
If it's a Kurosawa film, it probably would be. Yeah.
just pick any pretentious art film that's not in the top 250 and just pretend you like it.
Yeah, but it's got to be in BFI. That's the important thing. If it's in BFI's top 50, then it's at least in
Tokyo
9.
Story. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tokyo Story is in IMDb's top 50.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in the 100 somewhere. It's really good, Harry.
Well,
Fine. It's like Silent Running. It's fine.
Solid Running.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's alright. It's alright. 9 out of 10.
so
We should pick Cool Runnings for your next one, Tony.
alright, well,
I think I like Cool Runnings.
we'll see that later. Goodbye.
Is that one about a Jamaican
We are the
bobsled team?
Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Yeah, kids, yeah.